Hello, hello, guys. Oh my goodness. I love this. Come on in. So tell me again where you're signing in from. I always love to see. And oh my goodness, 300 people already. I love it. Hi, everyone. I'm in a hotel because I'll tell you about it. But so I'm sitting outside in my little patio. So good to see you all. Berlin, Atlanta, Sweden, Puerto Rico, Maine, Montreal. Come on in, everyone. Kuwait, Italy, Egypt, Budapest. Hi, everyone. So we are going deeper in this part 2 of my webinar, and I'm so excited to be here with you to share, to learn, to grow, and maybe to inspire you to be different. Hello, Cyprus, Warsaw, India, Israel, LA, Pakistan, California, Myanmar, Kazakhstan, Trinidad, Sydney, Greece, Cape Town, Mexico, Jamaica, Croatia, Nepal, Dubai. Oh my goodness, Manitoba, Canada, Johannesburg, South Africa, Moldova. I don't even know where that is. Can you hear me well, guys? I just want to make sure you can hear me. Yes, okay, good. So whoever said the internet is not good, maybe it's on your end. Come on in. I'm just going to give people another minute to come in. We had over 7,000 people signed up, and right now we have 533 live, which is fabulous. Megan was listening to my book, A Radical Awakening. Thank you, Megan. Moldova is next to Romania. Thank you. Indonesia in this house, Jakarta. I love it. I love it. Okay, Qatar. Hello, Qatar. Malaysia, Portugal, Colombia. So another minute. And maybe as we start part 2, you can think about, what is your intention to be here today? You learned some things from part 1. Now, why are you here for part 2? What about this webinar intrigued you to be here with me today? And I'm so happy you are. But some of you didn't sign up, right? So what makes you sign up? So Nukli says to be able to coach myself, the deeper dive, to reparent myself. Beautiful. To be my own coach. I re-listened to part 1 and I learned new treasures. I want to learn to deconstruct my patterns, self-growth, to heal, to evolve, to let go of suffering and help others. Learn to awaken, let go of fear and manifest. Go deeper, become a better me. Wow, guys. Thank you. To be free. Never want to miss anything you do. To understand how to move to the next step, to become free of attachment, to find me, to grow, to help others, to deepen, to grow better relationships, to transform, self-realization, to be inspired, to create a new version of me, to let go of my external bullshit, to be the best coach for myself and my son, to love myself, to access my power. Part 1 was so phenomenal. Part 2 was a no-brainer. Find answers and change, to grow up, to be more conscious, to dissolve my ego, to help my relationship with my wife. All right. I love it. To remember who I am. Going through a divorce, need help, self-growth. I was definitely in a tight bubble. I'm 48, wondering what comes next for me. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to start. This is why we're here today, to see how we can all evolve and how we can grow. I am right now dropping my daughter off to college. She's 18, and I will be leaving today, later in the evening, and not see her for 3 months. I'm 49. She's 18. I had her at 31. So what a long process it's been, right? Every parent knows this. And when you drop off your kid, or in any monumental life change like this, inevitably, you are, if you are slightly introspective, forced to reckon with the phenomenal discovery of who am I to be now, right? So I'm with these other moms, and they all are talking about how this is such a bittersweet moment. It's such a poignant moment. It's such a historic moment. All moments of transition are poignant, bittersweet, and historic, right? If you get diagnosed with cancer, it's bittersweet because you know that you're going to learn and grow and appreciate life like never before, but it comes at a high price. If you go through a divorce, it's bittersweet because it's traumatic on so many levels, but you also know that you're ending dysfunctional patterns. So we all have these transitional moments. And let me tell you, transitional moments are the key. I wait for them as a therapist because they dissolve the old you, and they are now asking you to deal with the phenomenal inquiry of who am I to be now? It is a phenomenal place to be, but it scares everyone because the new hasn't come, right? So as I watch this process with my daughter unfolding right before my eyes, I can tell you that I'm super in the sweet moment, not the bitter moment, in the sweetness of the bittersweet more than the bitter part. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm ready. I'm prepared for this moment. And this spiritual preparation that I've been doing since I was 21 has helped me in every life transition. I went through a divorce 2 years ago and nobody would have even told, not because I want to be cavalier about it, but because I was prepared for it, because I understood what was going through. As it was happening, I was awake and aware. So imagine this for yourself, that no matter what life throws at you, you are ready. Not for the level of maybe physical pain, but for the emotional slavery. You're ready for that emotional loophole, the emotional labyrinth. You're ready for it. You know the loopholes, you know the traps, you watch yourself entering them, but you're aware. So I see now that the reason I am so ready for this, ready to leave tonight like yesterday, is not because I have antipathy toward her. On the contrary, right? I have great adulation, great love, great attachment to her. But the reason I am ready is only one, and it has stood me in good stead through every hardship in my life, is because I have a deeper purpose. I promise you this, my relationship with my purpose is greater than my relationship with any human. Now, that may sound so grandiose, that may sound so self-absorbed, that may sound so selfish, because as women especially, our greatest purpose is supposed to be relationships. So mine is a relationship. Only thing, it's a relationship to my purpose. But my purpose happens to be a relationship with millions of other people. But whatever your purpose is, when you plug into that purpose, it will supersede your relationship to anything or anyone else. Now, your relationship could be being a mother. For 18 years, that was my bloody first purpose. But my number 2 purpose was right there. And that relationship, when you foster that relationship with nature, with something transcendent, beyond a human, now you are touching something that is so powerful, I cannot explain. My relationship to you, meaning my purpose, is more powerful than any relationship in the world. When I was divorcing, I wasn't losing anything because I was reigniting actually a greater purpose to myself. So how to achieve that? How to access that? That is what I want for each one of you. Even if your purpose is at a single point in time, your motherhood or your fatherhood or your husbandhood or wifehood, it has to be the connection to that function or that service more than to the person. Do you understand? My purpose is less to you as much as it is to the service to you. Do you understand? So even with our children or our partners, if you decide that that's your purpose, it has to be less to the person and more to the function, to the service to that person. You understand? So if your purpose is to garden, your purpose has to be to the service to the garden, not to a particular rose. You understand? Because when it is to a particular rose, that rose is going to drive you freaking crazy. You're going to be like hovering over the rose because the rose is your purpose. Now that is ego. Your relationship has to be to the service to the rose. You understand? And this is what I try to teach to every human being and in my parenting. Even if you say motherhood or parenthood is your greatest purpose, be very clear about what you're saying. Your greatest purpose is not to that person. So right now, when I drop my daughter, sure, on a human mortal level, I'll be missing her. But my greater purpose is, did I do okay by her in terms of service? And am I leaving a whole individual behind? And if I'm not, how can I help her become a whole individual? Because my relationship is to the service to her wholeness, not to her serving me. Do you understand? This is key in anything you do. If your purpose is to be cooking dinner, do not make it your service to the human. Make it, to the food, to the human. Make it to the service for their growth. Do you understand? For their nutrition, for their wholeness, not for their egoic attachment back to you. So if you're cooking dinner, do not make it about the food, to the stomach, to the ego, to your ego. You're doing it to the service, to the wholeness of that person, or the service of the mission. So when I'm here right now, and I'm talking to Elke and Elise and Tina, the people I see in my chat right now, I'm not thinking about, do they like me? I'm thinking, am I serving the highest mission to touch their wholeness? That is my goal. In a garden, it is to the service of the garden and the soil and the fruition of all. When I'm cooking a meal, it is to the service of providing the beauty to the wholeness of that individual, but not the individual per se. So I remember a time when my daughter wanted an acai bowl, and I thought I was an acai bowl creator. So I went and researched how to make an acai bowl. I went to buy all the frozen yogurt. I bought all the fruit, and I was going to be the acai bowl creator. Apparently, I was not as good as the acai bowl shop creator. And she told me that she didn't like my acai bowl after I freaking created it for 20 minutes. I got so upset with her, like I lost my shit. I don't know whether I reviewed it to anyone, but I lost my shit and I threw the acai bowl, not on her lap as I wanted to, in the garbage. And I dumped it because I was so upset. You are so ungrateful, I told her. I spent 45 minutes of my time. I went to the supermarket. I bought you the thing. I did the research. And you cannot even appreciate my acai bowl? Do you understand? So my ego was completely triggered. I threw the damn acai bowl. I wanted to throw her in the garbage, but I couldn't. And then when I deconstructed a little later, I realized that I was not plugged into the mission at all. All I was plugged into was, am I a good mom? Am I a good mom? Do you appreciate me? Are you grateful? Will you serve me when I want something in the future? So I was plugged in the moment. So this is the key, guys. If you want liberation, you have to understand that you are here to serve a greater mission. Now, the first greatest mission that you need to serve is, what is the first greatest mission you are here for? Yes, it's yourself. It is yourself. Now again, we women are told that we are to be guilty if we put ourselves first. We have imposter syndrome. How can I put myself first when I'm not good enough? I'm not good enough to put myself first. Can you imagine? And we are trained, especially compassionate, empathic people, to put others before us. Now, as long as we don't serve our greatest wholeness, as long as our life is not designed to be in service for our greatest development, everything in our life will be inauthentic. I can leave my daughter today completely free because I'm done, meaning I'm complete. The work has been done. My part has been done. Imagine living every day with this sense of completion, with this sense of wholeness, right? Most of us are living in some disarray, discombobulated, disenfranchised state of being because we are asleep. I am here. My vehicle right now, this body, this mind, something about my causes and effects have given me the role and responsibility to help you wake up. But you have been given the responsibility to help me help you wake up. We are here together. I cannot exist without you, and you cannot exist without me at this point in time. Yes, at this point in time. My words are meaningless if you don't let me enter you. So I'm talking to the sky. But I'm happy to talk to the sky because I know 1 in 858 of you will allow me in. And that is my mission, right? It's not about one rose. It's about which rose in the garden will blossom. How many roses is not my choice. Whether all or none, not my choice. Is that I'm here to serve the garden. Whichever rose in the garden blossoms, that's it. I'm here to serve the garden. So imagine waking up and living your life at this level of existence. Do you understand? It's a different level of existence. Now I sound so haughty, like, oh, I live at a different level of existence. But how to say? I didn't say better level. I said different, yeah? It's another level, okay? It's like you literally waking up. It's like the Truman Show. You've seen the Truman Show? Watch the Truman Show. He wakes up every day. It's a movie set. And he doesn't realize it's a movie set till one day he goes through the screen, which is the horizon. And he's like, damn, this is a screen. And he goes through it and there's a whole real life there. Most of us are living in a movie set. And I'm here saying, hey, there's another way. There's another way. You're suffering for nothing. There's another way. But how to say that? No, until you are ready for the other way. So I'm here to tell you that I promise you, every day I wake up, because I live in the other way, free, not stressed, not upset, and relaxed, right? We were going shopping yesterday with all the mothers. What did the mother say that she was so stressed about? She was laughing at dinner last night that Shefali said, it is what it is. I forgot. Something she was stressing out about. And I said, oh, the hurricane. There's a hurricane coming to New York tonight or tomorrow. Its name is Henry. So everyone is like, are you worried about Hurricane Henry? And I was like, how can I worry about something that is out of my control? The first thing I ask is it in my control? Nope. What's in my control? Only my mental state of being. I'm in this beautiful town right now. Why would I worry? And I just come back to the present moment and I accept. Because of this training, there is a liberation that comes with it that allows you to live in the present moment completely free. This is the promise of this work. And I'm just one vehicle, there are many vehicles, to promise you that if you train your mind, you have to do the work, yes? It doesn't just come. If you train your mind, there is a way to get through every situation, from breast cancer to divorce, to MS, to your child being dropped off at college or going to jail, in a better way. Life keeps throwing us arrows, yes? But the second arrow, right? The second arrow is the most powerful. The Buddhists talk about the first arrow, which is life, the hurricane, MS, ataraxia, whatever it is, your kid being a snob or an entitled brat, whatever it is, that's life. That is not your worry. Life is life. Never, ever worry about life. It is coming and going. What you need to worry about is not life, not the first arrow. You need to worry about the second arrow. What is the second arrow? Your reaction to life. Now, you've heard this a million times. I'm not saying anything new. So why can't we do it? If we all know it's not life and it's our reaction to life, why can't we do it? We cannot do it because we don't have a method. We don't have a system. We don't have a strategy. Now, again, I may sound arrogant, but I promise you, when I'm in a crappy hole as Shefali, which I am in almost all the time, I pull up, what would I say? What would Dr. Shefali say to her best friend? What would Dr. Shefali say to her client? And I'm like, what would I know what she'd say? I don't want to hear it. But I have a system. I go into my own system of deconstruction and understanding why I'm here. And I'm like, damn, I don't want to get into big mind. I don't want to. I want to stay in my ego. I want to hate the other person, blame the other person, and drink some wine. But I know after 2 days of bullshitting myself and staying in ego, I have a way. I have a box. I open the box when I'm ready, and I have the tools and the strategies to overcome my own patterns. So the reason why we all don't do the work of liberation is because we may not have a system. And you have to have like a repetitive system. And as you repeat the system, you master the system. And as you master the system, it's happening, your master and you, the master side of you and you are walking side by side. Even though sometimes you're like, I don't want the master walking by me. I just want to be a human. I want to be a bitch. I want to be a mortal, and I want to complain, and I want to gripe, and I want to be mad at the world, and I want to be a victim, right? So sometimes I lock my master up and I go, you, Dr. Shefali, cannot come for this party. Don't come for this dinner. I don't want you there. You know, like you go to a restaurant, which is clearly a fast food restaurant, and then they have the calories there. Have you seen that? How can they have the calories there? Lobster garlic noodles, 1,230 calories. So I told the waitress, I was like, well, why are you doing this? We are here not to be with the master, okay? We're in a freaking bar, fast food restaurant. Why are you putting the freaking calories there, right? Like that, we don't always need to have the guru with us. But when I went home, I was like, damn, I should have taken the guru with me. I am like overfull and drunk, right? But the next day you get the guru out. So this is what I'm talking about. It's not you can't do it all the time. You can't be wise all the time. I'm not wise all the time. But when I need to be, I go back to wisdom, right? And I cannot be without wisdom for more than 5-6 hours because it's a train wreck. Without wisdom is a train wreck, right? Yes, self-pity is a big issue. Yes, Anna. You cannot be without this method, what I'm talking about, for a long time, because you'll go into debt, you'll be an addict, you'll put on 10 pounds and you're like, huh, what happened? No. I don't allow myself to leave Dr. Shefali behind for more than 5-6 hours. One meal a week or one dinner a month, I'll go out without her. But no, I need her, because without her, I've seen what happens, okay? Like out of control tantruming and out of control teenage behavior, very reckless. I have made terrible mistakes when I don't take my wise self with me. So I'm here to help you understand the system, okay? So let me have a cup of coffee and tell me what resonates with you as your biggest struggle, why you haven't mastered your own mind, why you haven't understood the second arrow yet. What has stopped you from being your own wisest powerhouse? Tell me. Trust, not saying centered, my ego, expectation, difficult to release. I keep forgetting. You keep forgetting? Oops. Conditioning, very good. Ego, very good. Beautiful. Caught up in the other. Yes, nobody told me I was supposed to, or nobody told me it was possible. Isn't that amazing? Culture, weakness, paradigms, fear of being seen, not trusting myself, fear and guilt, escaping, laziness, guilt, self-destructive, 2 toxic mother-in-laws. Yeah, blame them. What do you mean 2? Maybe I read that wrong. Attachment to playing the victim. Yes, How to be wise than how to be a victim? Victim or wise? Let me tell you, once you become wise, you cannot be the victim. It's a terrible situation. It is a conundrum. Boundaries, not having them, always wanting to be the martyr, trying to be perfect, blaming external things, perfectionist, seeking validation. Oh, second marriage. That's why two mother-in-laws. Is there a pattern? Bad habits. My amygdala is stronger than my prefrontal cortex. It's not your fault. It's the brain. Your brain didn't develop right. How is it your fault? I agree. The spouse yelling at the kids. Yes, it's the spouse's fault. I love it. I love it. I love it. Toxic marriage is the fault. Busy. Yitsa, you busy. Caring what other things. Beautiful. Beautiful. I was never modeled. Beautiful. Victim personality. Are you guys honest? How honest are you guys? It's my parents' fault. Lack of self-worth, addiction, dwelling on situations, was never aware, laziness, attachment, fear, no guidance, dysfunctional marriages, too honest. We're too honest. Yes, you are, Tina. I love it. Okay, guys. So here's the thing. You are absolutely right. This is why we don't really change. We don't really change because we were never modeled, too conditioned, don't have a system, never knew it was possible. Never knew it was possible. You know, if I didn't go for Vipassana meditation at the age of 21, you think I would know? I didn't know. I went at 21, still a baby, and my mind was still unconditioned enough that when I went so young and I got the teachings and they did their work on me without my consent, really, I was just putty. I was like, I'm experiencing a euphoria. I remember on day 11, when you leave, guys, I promise you, it was euphoric. Okay, I don't think I've experienced that ever in my life again. The dissolving of the ego. What happened there was that my patterns dissolved, my attachments faded, and there was inner space created. In this inner space, without attachments, I experienced levitation, like buoyancy, euphoria. And I understood at that moment that this is what liberation is, where the mind is free of the bullshit. Of course, very quickly on day 12, I was back in the real matrix, and I lost some of that. But once you have an epiphany, you cannot go back. And my entire life has been to create that space, more and more space, dissolve the ego more so I can be euphoric. I want that for all of you. I mean, I could cry because this is me being honest, okay? Like, I wish I could do this all year round for no money. I do a lot year round for no money, but I have to make some sort of living, yeah? But I promise you, I will get to a state of liberation from wealth. I'm very close, where I will do this for free. I will. Maybe after 60, another 10, 12 years, but I will. Because this is the way. This is so important to me that I teach everyone who wants to learn to be free. It gives me the greatest joy. Anyway, I could start crying. So anyway, so now I'm going to show you the system that I've created, and let's go deeper and see if you can take some jewels today. Okay, I can't uncover everything, but take a screenshot. When I show you, I'll go through it twice. Take a screenshot, and I'm going to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Okay, so take notes, and maybe you'll get something valuable today itself. Okay, but before I move on, what is an aha that you've already learned? I've been talking for 29 minutes, so give me an aha for right now. Self-love, emotional freedom. I have a choice. Yes, break the ego. This is an inside job that I can be coach. It is possible. Leave the matrix. The goal is service. I am not my thoughts. I am worthy. Release control. That I am not always wise. That you learned that Shefali is not always wise. How you respond is important. Purpose is higher than function. Service is the goal. awakening my flourishment, be happy and be free, be at service. Beautiful. Beautiful. So when you can combine purpose with service, that when you realize that purpose is service, that's when you have the ultimate freedom from relationships, because you'll always have that with you. But here's the thing, you can have direct purpose like I have, or you can have indirect purpose, meaning direct impact of service or indirect impact of service. But the bottom line is, every time you make purpose service, you're going to be okay. Every time you realize the service in the purpose, you're going to have a euphoric day, because your day won't be about the individual egos. It'll be about the service. And sometimes your service is yourself. In fact, a large part of your day should be serving you, eating well, meditating, going to the gym, being in nature, doing things that make you feel good. When a large part of your service is you, you are going to flow with service to others. It is just a given. So let's go into the process, okay? So bear with me. I have some presentations, and then we're going to go deeper and deeper and learn, and ask me questions when I ask you for the questions, okay? Not now, but take down your questions. Okay, so let's go deeper. So this is the method I've created. I teach it to my coaches in my coaching institute, and I just repeat it, okay? On repeat. And I do it to myself every time I'm in a landmine of emotional trigger. I use this process and I get out of it. Okay. Can we have the presentation? I don't know. For ownership, possession, and control, I don't know. I'll see. Okay, guys, let's do this. Okay, take a picture of this. This is the whole screen. When I share the screen, take a picture of this. Click. Everybody take a screenshot. Grab it. I think it's Shift Command 4 and you can grab it. Yes? I will show it again. Now let's go through the process. Okay, I've shown this in webinar 1. I'm just running through it, and then I'm going to go into another presentation. So every human being starts at A, wherever they're at. Every human being wants to go to a better place. I know it. I know it. I know it. Even if they're unaware of it, every one of us has a yearning to be better. We just don't know how. So my process has 3 phases. You first have to break yourself down. Then you have to break yourself through, and then you will break yourself free. I promise you this, okay? But it has to follow a system. It has to. So the first step is the experience. I'm going to go into this deeper in the next presentation. Experience of what? Experience that, damn, my jaw is clenched all the time. Damn, I have anxiety. Damn, what's going on with me? The experience of the dysfunction, the experience of the pain. So people always say, what is your first step? And I always say awareness. Awareness of what? Awareness of pain. If you're not willing to be aware of your pain, I can't help you. Yeah. You have to be aware of some freaking pain. That's why children are so amazing, because sooner or later, child number 3 or 4, if you're very lucky, child number 1, like in my case, will give you pain, which you cannot ignore, and you will take yourself for help. It's a great thing to be aware of pain, because the next step is you realize that this pain has been continuing for a long time. You become aware of the global nature of the pain, that it's in all your relationships, and it's a big problem. And then you have an epiphany that, ooh, it's me. I'm part of this pain, okay? This is the first step. If you cannot come here, you will not seek true help. Until you realize that you're in pain and that you are the co-creator of your pain, you will not have the epiphany to go through the process, right? The next level is breaking through. I take my clients through this. Sometimes I can take them through part A, like the first level, in 10 minutes. Sometimes it takes 10 months. It depends on the level of awareness of the consciousness before me, okay? The next one, we begin to go into childhood formation. How did all this begin? Now you're going deep. Now it takes time. Now you need help. You cannot do this part on your own. I promise you, you can't. You need the help of somebody, because you will get stuck here. you will not be able to see your patterns. You will not see how you're repeating your patterns. You will not see how it formed. You will not see how it repeats. You will not see how you created these solid personality personas called archetypes. You need help for this. And then the third phase, once you've done this deep work of the breaking through phase, is in the birth canal. Yes, you're in the tunnel, you need help. Now you're willing to break free. Now you're at the level of evolution, and you begin to connect your past to the present. You begin to disrupt the patterns in the present moment. Now you're becoming a master, and you attend to your liberation. Now you can graduate because you've entered liberation. So this is the brief model, and I'm going to go into it deeper now. Okay, so take a picture. This is my model. I'm writing about it in my next book. Nobody write about it. This is my next book, one of my next books. Okay, this is my model. Okay, so let's go deeper and understand. Okay, yep. Now, so what about this feels scary for you? What about this feels daunting for you? Imagine we got this method in school. Imagine all of us had this by the time we were 18, right? It should come back. It's just because I stopped the PowerPoint and there was a lot of disruption, but I think I'm coming back. I think I'm coming back. No, I'm coming back. I'll come back. Don't worry. Yep. Thank you, Candice. See, the pattern got disrupted and we're back in the present moment because the system was overloaded. Okay. Beautiful, guys. Must be Henry. Okay. So the reason why we don't do this is, number one, we don't have a method. Number two, we're not exposed to it. Number three, we don't have help along the way. Number four, we don't have it systematically broken down in a clear way, right? We're taught trigonometry, we're taught calculus, but we're not taught to do this, correct? This is what I'm here to teach people, right? Every single book I have written follows this in some way. I've been developing this system without realizing I'm developing a system since day one, because this is what I do for myself. This is how I am a free human being. You know, we all want to arrive at the next step, right? Or maybe some of you say, oh, I want to do what Dr. Shefali does. Or Dr. Shefali says, I want to do what Eckhart does. And Eckhart says, I want to do what Thich Nhat Hanh does. And Thich Nhat Hanh is like, I want to do what the Buddha does. Well, each one of us has gotten to the next level because of a method, right? So the Buddha taught the method of meditation, which I follow. And I've broken down that method here really in modern language, right? What I see myself doing is breaking down these esoteric principles in modern language and making it relatable and appealing and real. So, but each one of us has gotten to wherever we've gotten to because of a system, because of a method. Every single one of my books, if you go back to read it now, will follow a journey, will follow a quest, because this is just the way, right? Every time a client comes to me, I have to take them on a quest. But we cannot do this work with any other human being or out there in the world unless we've practiced it on ourselves. So I tell all my coaches in the Institute, first, you're becoming your own best coach. If you don't become your own best coach, you cannot help your children, you cannot help your purpose, you cannot help your abundance, you cannot help money, you cannot help any other area of your life. It is the hero's journey, but it needs to be broken down, yes? Okay, so now I'm going to take you on to another presentation and let's go a little deeper, okay? And then I'm going to show you my coaching institute. You don't have to stay for that if you're not interested, but the last part, I'm going to bring some coaches on and they're going to talk to you about their real life experiences. And I'm going to show you how my coaching institute can help you, what I do in my coaching institute. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek. If you want to stay for that, great. We're 952 people here live. Okay, let's go deeper into our own liberation. How can we liberate ourselves? So give me a second. Okay. I'm trying to share my screen. Give me 1 second, guys. So I may lag again, but don't worry. Okay, let's start. How to become your own coach. Now, if you take notes, guys, at least you will get the level of like the exposure to what I teach. And if you then choose to take a course with me, or you choose to join the Coaching Institute, then you can really become deeper and deeper a master. But this is elementary exposure, okay? So I can't go into it very deep, but I'm showing you what I teach. And then it's up to you. You can take a course, you can take my Coaching Institute. There are many ways that you can decide how you want to go deeper. I'm just showing you what I teach, and hopefully you'll get something out of it right now. Okay, so last webinar, we talked about the 5 mistakes, and it's important for me to recap them right now because I'm going to show you how it all ties together. We talked about a common relationship mistake. Number 1 is ownership and possession. Because I think I own my daughter, I'm going to have a problem leaving her today. And because of that, I'm going to have control and fear, which I will drive her crazy with, right? Texting her, do you remember this? Do you remember that? Do you have the code? Do you do this? And I'll be scared of leaving her here alone because I own and possess her. And then I will have expectations and fantasies. Either I'll have terrible expectations like, oh my goodness, I expect everything to go wrong, or I'll have fantastical ones where they will be fabulous that I expect her to be a superstar. And both of them will not take into account the isness of the present moment. I will use my daughter to complete my incomplete self. I will cling to her, I will attach to her if I'm not whole and empowered from within. And I will project my own bullshit onto her. Because I'm missing her, I may believe she's missing me. Because I'm feeling unworthy, I may believe she's feeling unworthy. And in these ways, we will mess up the power of beautiful connection. All of us are making these relationship mistakes. It's really important for you to understand that these relationship mistakes occur ubiquitously, globally, because of our childhood patterns, because we are stuck in repetitive egoic patterns. I'm pausing here because I'm remembering so many clients that I have helped break down their ego. I'm remembering so many times that I was stuck in my ego. And how the ego, meaning the self that I created to protect me as a child, is now messing my present day power. But the thing with the ego is that it's now so embedded in our archetypes, in our personality personas, that we can't even tell it's our ego. We think it's us. And when I remember this one client came to me and she was like, maybe she's here today, Genevieva, if Genevieva's here. She's like, I am giving her away, but she won't mind. She was so cute. She was like, she's a coach in my Coaching Institute. And she's like, I don't have any patterns. I don't see any patterns. And so she booked a private session with me because she was like, where the frick are my patterns? And I remember showing the pattern was literally like right here, and she couldn't see it. It was to do with her daughter, and she just couldn't see because her daughter was such an outlier. She thought she was justified in her reaction to the outlier. But I showed her that because she thought her daughter was an outlier and attached to that label of her daughter as an outlier, she was in the pattern. Do you understand? So sometimes we don't see the pattern because it's right here, and that's why we need someone to help us. When I showed her the pattern, that in calling her daughter the outlier and attaching to it was the pattern, because she was Miss Goody too, she was a Miss Perfect, she was like, oh my God, that's the pattern. So we need help with the deconstruct. The part 2, like breaking through, you cannot do alone. I'm sorry, guys. You gotta have a coach. You gotta be your own coach and have a coach. and learn how to coach yourself, because it is very hard. In my coaching institute, I have 7 weeks, I think, dedicated to breaking the pattern, because it's the key. It's the key. It's the key. It's the key. Okay, so let's go back to the, okay, take a screenshot for those who didn't get the 5 mistakes. These mistakes occur because you don't understand your patterns. Okay, so there's a process. Okay, this is the process I teach in my institute, and I'm breaking it down for you here. What is the process? The first one is breaking down, right? And in this process, it seems simple, but it's really hard to get to this part, because this is the part where you identify. You're willing to say, I have a problem. You're willing to say, I have a problem everywhere. And then you're willing to say, is it me? Is it me? The next phase is breaking through really hard. In this phase, you're going to have a nervous breakdown. You're going to want to eat. You're going to want to run away. You're going to hate Dr. Shefali. I have people's partners hating Dr. Shefali when they're in this process, because it is a mother of a process, okay? But if you can go through this process with help, of course, you will literally leave the movie set of your existence and enter another plane of reality, another way of living. I live in this plane because I've done so much work in this breaking through phase. I really have. In this phase, you deconstruct. My first Evolve conference, I didn't even know I was in the method. I called it Deconstructing Parenthood. My thing is to help you deconstruct. I teach it. I give you the tools. I make you a master of deconstruction. And then the third phase is breaking free, is liberation, where you truly live in the present moment, right? This is the method. So each phase has tools and strategies that I teach. In the first phase of breaking down, identification, I teach you how to become aware of your painful experiences. Then we teach you how to journal and process your painful experiences. Then I teach how to get to the epiphany that you are the co-creator. Okay? Take a screenshot. This is, if you don't do this, you cannot do the next. So with my clients in the coaching institute, in my courses, I teach you this first. Awareness of the isness of the pain. Then the awareness of the pain, like super awareness that you are part of your own pain. This is key, guys. We can never get here. You know that? You can spend your whole life and never get here. Getting here is the most powerful thing you can do for your life. Saying, I need help. Being willing to say, I dedicate my life for this. You know, we go for PhDs. I did my PhD in a really fancy Ivy League school, and I'm not knocking it down, but they don't teach you this. Okay, what I teach, I'm sorry to say, I'm teaching you this because I've done a PhD and 3 masters, and I realize what's missing, right? Because I understand what's missing, I've created this model. In the next phase, the breaking through. Okay, we saw the first part. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you what it is, okay? Because that's why I don't do this. That's why I never rely on technology. I rely on my own service. So are we back? Okay, so let me just go through the process. It's just such a pretty PowerPoint. So I thought we could have a pretty PowerPoint, but I will depend on my own prettiness to be pretty. Okay. So you got the mistakes. Did you get the mistakes? Did you get the 5 mistakes? And then I'm just going to send it to you. Yes. Okay. So the reason, did you hear me say that the reason we make these mistakes is because we're caught in childhood patterns? Did you hear that? Okay. Then the 3 phases. The first phase is the breaking down. You're breaking down, where you begin to identify that you are in pain. Okay. The first phase, and it could take your entire life to get to this phase, guys. If you get to a phase, if you are able to say, I need help, do you understand how powerful that is? Okay, so that's the identifying. The next phase is now you're entering the birth canal. It's the deconstruction phase, where you begin to deconstruct. And then the third phase is where you begin to liberate yourself and you break your patterns, okay? So now each phase has certain steps. So I'm going to take you through each phase without sharing the screen. Don't worry. Okay. So the first phase is you begin to identify. How do you identify that you are in trouble, right? How do you become aware that you are in pain? Now, some people's denial is so great that they will not accept that they are in pain. And this is a tragedy, right? Everyone around you can tell you're in pain, but you are not going to accept it, right? You're not going to accept that you're in pain. So denial is a big, I'm trying to not curse, like a big, big barrier, okay? So you have to get real with your life. What part of your life is not okay? What part of your life is causing you stress? There is no one without a painful area of their life. Your body is telling you. Either you're zoning out, you're numbing, you are angry, you're reactive. I'm here to tell you, if you can honor it and own it, it will be the best thing you can do for yourself. Identifying the pain feels like admitting failure. But until you do, we can't go to the next phase. You understand? So your persona wants to be perfect, but you're not going to be able to be free if you're in persona. Every one of us has to come to the realization that we are in pain. I call it the portal of transformation. Pain is the portal. We must become aware that we are in pain. Step number one. So Lisa says, yeah, I'm aware, but then I blame others. Good. Okay. Then the next step is you begin to process, right? So I take people down a path where they begin to process their pain. Now they begin to journal, they begin to write, they begin to talk. And then they get to the epiphany that maybe I am the common denominator. Now, when you can get to this epiphany and you're willing to be honest and look in the mirror and say, it's me, now we're talking. So who is willing to be aware of their pain, understand that they are the common denominator, and are willing to say that they are willing to do more work? Who's willing to be at that step right now? Level one. Yes? Okay. Everyone is willing to accept that they are not perfect, willing to accept that their relationships are not amazing and can be better. Doesn't mean that they're terrible. There is no terrible. There is no failure here, guys. But can we be better? Okay. So now write to me one thing you've noticed that you do to make yourself upset, to make yourself stressed, to make yourself, what is one thing you do? So I'll give you an example. In my life, my biggest problem has been trying to be a savior. I'm doing it now too, but I used to be a savior with expectations, and then I used to be disappointed, and then I was upset. Okay, so other people say I'm a pleaser, living in the past, feeling guilty, overthinking, being a victim, lazy, beautiful. Okay, now understand that what you've just written needs to change. The reason you can't change it is because you're not recognizing when it comes up. This is where you need help. Okay, it's hard enough to get to this place, but because you're a part of my audience, you're so sophisticated. But let me tell you, out there in the quote unquote real matrix, people don't even get to this point. Yeah, you understand? They're living in denial, they're just numbing and sabotaging, and they know it's not working, but they don't know how to get out of it. My audience already is at this step. You understand? You all are here, but many of you don't go to the next step. Now the next step is the breaking through. In this step, you must be willing to do the deconstruction. Now here you need help. Here is where we go deep into the patterns of your childhood, and we see how these wounds have created triggers, and then how these wounds have created belief systems, and then how these belief systems have created persona. I'll be back. I'll be back. Don't worry. I know I'm back. See how we panic? Don't panic. I'm so calm and chill because I know that I'm not attached to this outcome. If you're here, you're here. If you can stay, you stay. If you get it, you get it. I'm not attached. I'm just here. You see, this is putting it into practice, right? I'm like, this is not my identity. My mission is to show up. This is how the work gets in real life, where you're ready to be present, right? And you're just here showing up. You're not owning, possessing, controlling, afraid, right? We're here. Can you hear me well now? I don't need to reboot. I'm good. Okay. So the second phase is where we get stuck, okay? Because we were children when the unconscious conditioning was absorbed by us, we immediately began to create belief systems that have blocked us from our full liberation. The belief systems have created these ways of being that have become toxic for us, but we don't realize that they're toxic because they are part of us. These belief systems have created belief systems of ownership, possession, control, fear, expectations. All the mistakes that we make have created anxiety within us, right? You'll see if I happen to go off right now, you will have panic and anxiety because that's our default. So we have to learn a whole new default system, which I was talking about, the master system, the master method that you keep with you at all times to open and take the tools out. This is what I teach. This is what I use on myself. So if you can learn this, you will be able to break through your patterns and literally evolve yourself to live a different vibration, a different frequency. You will leave the matrix behind to live at a different frequency. But you have to take yourself through this process and learn this method. And learn this method. Andrea is listing all the slides, don't worry. So when you break down and identify the painful experiences and you realize it's you, that's level 1. Level 2 is now, what do I do about it? How do I understand myself and deconstruct myself so that I can hone my own instrument so that everywhere I go, I am vibrating at my highest potential. When I am everywhere I go, I think for the most part, I take my highest vibration everywhere I go. So there is no opportunity missed. Many of you may know that recently, 8 months ago, I experienced a huge betrayal. I don't like to use the word betrayal because it's so cliched, by a close person in my staff. And I can tell you that had that experience happened to me without this method, I would literally not be able to function for the next entire 7 months. When we can understand that we are, through our persona, limiting ourselves, this awareness can catapult us to a whole new level of awareness. So the sad thing is that we'll have to give up our persona. We'll have to give up our own identity of ourselves till the present moment. So people always say in Buddhism that the reason we don't change is because we're attached to who we are. Yes, so I always say that you will never change until you die to your old self. Now you'll say, who wants to die? Right? I'm afraid I won't come back to life. I'm afraid that my next life won't be better. And I'm here to tell you that there is no next life that isn't better than the old one. I'll tell you why. Because our old life, till we awaken, is a conditioned self. Even if you're wealthy right now and you're really skinny and you have some amazing children, it doesn't matter. It's still a patterned existence. Imagine if your life is good enough now, what it could be. And if it's not good enough, what it could be. Because the next life is an awakened life. So I did 25 years of a marriage, which was not a bad marriage. It was good enough in many people's books, but it wasn't my next level. I needed to go to another level. And it was so scary for me because I didn't think I was worthy to be on my own, to love myself, to ask for more. So I stayed for 25 years because it was good enough. It was 80-20, 70-30. You know how you do these ratios and you compromise. But when I got the courage to ask for more out of life because I wanted more and I deserved more, I cannot tell you how my life has changed, because the second or third or fourth version of you is always a more conscious version. And because it's more conscious, it has to be more liberated. You understand? It, even if your old was good enough, it was a patterned existence. It was a conditioned existence. So the next phase has to be better. So we go through the breakdown, and then we go through the breaking through. We go through it because the next phase is the awakened phase called breaking free. And the breaking free phase is where you truly learn the tools to be in the present moment, to be here right now, to be in an awakened state of existence. So this is the path. And in the liberation phase, you begin to connect. Like right now, when there was a moment of panic, I can immediately download all my teachings for myself. And I can remind myself that it is only the expectation that is not being met. Nothing else is wrong with the world. I can immediately tell myself my fantasy is not being met, but everything is okay with the world. I can immediately tell myself, oh, they won't like me is a lie, and I can be okay with the world. You understand? So in the present moment, when the trigger arises, I can immediately download my method and I can use it. And you see, I can flow. I don't get into a panic. And I can promise you, even though I'm sweating, once I leave this webinar, I will not plague myself with, oh my God, was I sweating? Oh my goodness, did you see it froze? Once I literally took out my t-shirt and people saw me in a bra. Yes, you may have been there. In a freaking bra, okay? And I had to go, okay, I have to learn this. And it wasn't even a sexy bra. It was my grandma bra. You know, the big ones that cover everything. I was like, that's what upset me. You know that? Not that you saw me in my bra, that it was my shitty bra. If it was my pumped up bra, I'd be like, okay, what? I'm sorry for the mistake, but I'll be so happy inside. What upset me was my ego was so attacked because it was so attached that I did not wear my sexy bra. Not that people saw me, you see? And I was like, shit. And then I had to tell myself, see, good, because you want to be sexy. Are you a wisdom teacher? Or you want to be sexy? I'm like, I want to be sexy wisdom teacher. So then I had to really talk because I was really, really traumatized that it was my grandma bra. It's like literally, it's in my suitcase now. I take it with me for like when I have to look decent because it covers everything. But I'm like, I should burn this bra. I should just never have it as an option. Anyway, then I had to talk to myself, and 10 minutes I was okay. However, if I didn't have the teachings, I would be very traumatized. And you guys must have been traumatized too for many, many days. So this is why the teachings are so important. Okay. So what have you taken away as an aha right now? Tell me where you are in your teachings. And then I'm going to call some real life coaches that will show you how they did the process with me. And let's see where we go with that. Okay. awareness, enjoy the moment, no attachment, your bra. Liberate yourself, walk away, inner peace. I feel very hopeful. Break childhood personas. Breathe, calm the hell down. Okay, notice the triggers in the present moment. I'm my worst enemy. Surrender to beautiful. So when you learn how to be without this thing called ego, which I'm learning every single day, I can have huge 947 people live. It can go to hell and I can be okay. So then I take these teachings, and the next time I have a big trigger and I go through say a diagnosis, or my daughter's had an accident or something big, I take these teachings with me everywhere I go. So in every situation, you're at a higher level of awareness. You're able to flow. You're able to liberate. You understand how powerful this is? Okay, let us call the first coach that I'm going to call in. So are you here, Khadija? Khadija, are you here? Andrea, tell me if she's here. So Khadija has been doing this work, and I'm going to bring her here because she's a real life person who's done this method with me, and she's going to tell us how she feels after having done this. Okay, let me call Khadija. Hold on. I hope I can do this. Khadija's ready. I may not be able to call her though. Let me see. I can allow her to talk at least. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Just breathe with me. There's so many of you here. Okay. Khadija. Khadija.
Hello. Hi, Dr. Shefali.
Hi. Where are you calling in from?
I am in Casablanca, Morocco.
Casablanca. Okay. So Khadija, just quickly, I want to know about how you were before you started this method. You are one of my coaches. You've taken the entire 5 months of my coaching institute. So how were you before, so they can relate to you, and all the fears you felt that you couldn't be a good coach or do this work? So tell us how you were before and why you were drawn to the coaching institute to learn this method.
Okay, I'll tell you how I was before. Passionate, but lost. I knew deep down that I was completely called to do something with education, something with parents and children, something with healing, but I had no idea how or what form it was supposed to take. I studied early childhood education and I worked in a school, and I worked with children. I loved what I did. The children loved me. I loved the children. Everything was wonderful. But I realized that one of my favorite parts of the day became that time when the parents came in the morning to drop off their kids or pick them up, and they would ask me these questions, like as they were going through a divorce or as their child was having difficulty sleeping. And I was so touched by their questions and their desperate need for guidance, and how some parents really harm their children, but unconsciously. No parent does it on purpose. They love their kids, but they're lost, you know? And I was so called to help them, and I did it in a very intuitive way. As an amateur, you know, I had my job, which was being a teacher. But I realized if I really want to help these kids, I need to help their parents, you know? So when I found your work, I was so relieved, because what it gave me was, you grounded in a method what I felt I had in my heart deep down, but I didn't know how to go about with it, you know?
So how true do you think it is that you have to become your own best coach first in order to coach others? And how did my coaching institute help you? First help you, and now you so easily can help others. How did that work for you?
Well, the irony as I started was that I wanted to help others. I wanted to help all these other parents, I wanted to save the whole world. But as I started the institute, I was like, oh, actually, this is my work. I need to do this work for myself. And you know what's going on now? Ever since I've graduated, the way I work with my clients, the feedback that I get, not only do we have a very solid method that we can help people, deconstruct and have a better relationship with their children and all that there's no question about that. But the feedback that touches me is how there's two. The first one is that people tell me that it's not what I told them, the tips and the tricks, it's that they see me and they see embodiment of my teachings, and the only way that's possible is because I don't just give them information. It's because I share with them my transformation.
I like that. I like that. So Khadija, and I know I'm trying to plug myself and the teachings, but I remember how you used to be before and look at you now. Okay. So people are commenting on your energy and your radiance. So talk about that in your own experience. Like you went through all the phases for yourself. Like I remember when you used to be full of anxiety, you would not be able to come on the screen the way you are today. And you went through all the phases and look at you now. I mean, it's just amazing. How has that experience been for you, taking yourself as a very human person from anxiety and self-doubt and, overthinking, perfectionist, to now where you can come and just radiate with this energy?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I had anxiety, low self-esteem, call it all these words, because I had lots of dreams, but I never thought it was possible. Honestly, I thought at best I would, start a little coaching business and have a few private clients a week. And, that's it. And I'll live the rest of my life with my, dreams that would never happen. But honestly, Dr. Shefali, you have been our example of what is possible. So thank you for your courage, because you show us what's possible, and the way you lead is you want us all to be leaders too, so thank you for the way you teach and the way you lead. And also the courage doesn't have to come only from us. This is what I learned. The importance of your institute is that you don't only sign up for a bunch of information, because everybody can buy books and everybody can have access to free stuff online. It's not only about information, it's also the community. And so all this, courage that you're saying, the energy I have today and all, it's also because we had a community to encourage each other. We support each other. We have questions, we have fears, we have doubts, anything. We have our community to support us. We have a group, and even though I've graduated years ago now, I still have access to my group. And these people are now some of my closest friends in my life, so I gained a lot from this. I gained so much from this experience, and thank you. I'm very grateful, and I'm just I'm happy that it's been part of my journey and still is.
Yeah. So when and Khadija, stay with me a little bit, but I want people to understand is when I wrote my books and I would do these smaller courses, people used to say, put this method in an institute, and the institute can be for the self and then through the self for others, right? But I was always scared because I didn't want to have people feel like there was a method. Back then I used to be scared because I had imposter syndrome about this method. Oh, is this method good enough? And I don't know whether it'll work with everybody. And I was so scared because I didn't think it was universal at that time. I didn't want to put it down as a structure. But people would come to me and go, it's a structure, it's a method. They would tell me, please create an institute. So I had the courage to say, you know what, I'm going to commit to it, and hopefully it'll be universal. But I never thought that it was a global mission and it could hit different cultures. It's cross-cultural. Khadija, you're from Morocco, but there are people, tell us where all their people from, everyone. From Cairo, from Turkey, tell us, all over the world.
New Zealand, Portugal, Mexico,
yes,
all over the US, all over Europe.
Got a person from Iraq for the next cohort. But what I mean by that is that when you talk about universal growth principles, I was scared that there's no such thing. But there are universal growth principles that if we follow, no matter your background, culture, no matter your socioeconomic background, no matter if you are in psychology as a teacher or educator, it doesn't matter. If you come to this method raw, everyone can grow. So this is why I created this institute. It's an institute really for self-development, an institute for transformation of the self, and then you can transform others as well. So Khadija, who else do you believe you've touched because you have changed yourself?
Well, first, my immediate family, my own children, my husband, my parents, my sisters. I feel like, of course, when one person changes, it touches everyone else around them. And as enthusiastic as we can be about our work, it's not even about screaming it at the top of roofs and telling everyone what to do and what to think. It's again about just embodying, and just by being myself, the teaching, it can inspire and change the dynamic for people around me. And then my clients, so as I work with my clients in this way, what I feel is you said earlier you were not comfortable in the beginning of your journey with the institute about the method, but I from the beginning knew I was saying this is a non-method method because it's a school with no it's not a cookie cutter recipe. It is a recipe. There are principles, like you said, but you end up creating your own thing. And so in my expression, it is through individual sessions and workshops and online courses. That's my expression. I work with schools, I work with businesses, etc. But I have friends who are doing it in very different ways, and it's beautiful because we're not here to compete. We're not here to be copies of the same product, like mini Shefali people. We're all different, and Dr. Shefali honors that and celebrates that. So yeah, this is my path, and I'm very happy with it. And it's not perfect, and it's not finished, and that's life, right?
That you don't need to have a background in psychology to do this, because I take people through the basics in my way, and so I teach you what you need to learn. Okay, thank you. I'm going to call. Thank you so much, Khadija. Say bye. Thank
Welcome. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Beautiful. So now I'm going to call another woman, and you're going to hear from her. And what I want you to understand is that these were people who came to just improve their own sense of purpose. They came to be of service. They came to grow. I always say there's two things only in life at the end of the day. It's growth and service. Growth and service. So this institute is a 5-month course, and it's tailored along the 3 phases: the breaking down, the breaking through, and the breaking free. And it's 20 weeks. It's just 5 months online, all over the world. Do it in your pajamas, and you go through this process. If you want to help your children, you'll help your children. If you want to make it a career, you'll make it a career. But what you will do is you will change you. It is a dedication. It is a commitment. What to do now? I have to ask you to dedicate time and resources, but I've kept it at a reasonable enough course for what you get. And what you get are these tools and strategies called schools that are completely priceless. If you see me as somebody that is embodying autonomy, liberation, creativity, and purpose, it's because I use this method. So do you want to use this method? Do you want to learn how to grow? Right? So there is an application, and the link is here. It's a $55 application fee. You apply, and if you want to speak to somebody and you want to understand the payment options, we have different payment options and possibilities. You can ask for more information. But the entire 5 months is $8,500. I like to be upfront with you right now. But what you get with it is not only your method, not only a community, not only ambassadors, not only me teaching you every week, an online course, you also get a certification. So if ever you want to use it in the future, it's there for you. You take it with you wherever you go, like a badge of honor. So anyway, I just want to have another coach come on to talk about her life development and where she went with this. And you can talk, you can ask her questions and listen to her her expression of her own process and how she used the breaking down, breaking through, and breaking free in her own life. So we're going to go back to the method and learn from her life experience. This is Rachel.
Hi, Dr. Shefali.
Hi, Rachel. Rachel's joining us from San Francisco, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Rachel. So tell us who you were before conscious parenting. I know you came from a more business background, not psychology. So how did you feel as just this human wanting to evolve? Tell us about your journey.
So in my career, I started as a divorce attorney, and I did that for 7 years, and I was hugely successful on the form level, but I was very unfulfilled personally. I didn't love it. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And when I quit becoming an attorney, I started zigzagging between a lot of different professions. And I was really good at everything I started. I was very passionate, but nothing stuck. And I started having a lot of shame and wondering what was wrong with me that I couldn't stick to one career path. How come all these other people who are not super smart, not super talented, can find a career path that's fulfilling for them and stick with it for 40 years? And here I was lost. And when I started the Coaching Institute, if I'm honest, I thought this is going to be another one of those things that I start and I'm super passionate about and I have a lot of energy. And 6 months down the line, it's going to fizzle. And through coaching, when you coached me, it was really unexpected for me at that point, but you helped me put pieces together that truthfully had been waiting for 47 years to be put together. I had been so split and fragmented within myself. And that is what was manifesting in my professional life, that split, the constant ping-ponging between different parts of myself that I couldn't see because I couldn't see the pattern. I didn't understand where it came from. I didn't understand what it was. And I was constantly in this loop of what is wrong with me. And when you coached me, it was like this. I remember the moment where everything fell in line. And that started a cascade of me being able to put together pieces of my own puzzle. And it was such a quantum leap in my own integration, in my own awakening, that I struggled to put into words how meaningful that was and still is for me. And it catapulted me, again, unexpectedly, into a life that is full of meaning and purpose and fulfillment and satisfaction. And I wake up in the morning at 5:30 and I jump out of bed because I can't wait to start my day. I can't wait to write. I can't wait to be with my clients. I can't wait to speak on webinars, whatever it is I'm doing. I just can't wait. It's like a fire in me. And it's not been 6 months. It's been, I don't know, what is it, 2 years, or I don't know. So
look at you. I mean, if you are looking at Rachel and going, my goodness, and Khadija, how are they talking? Look at, I literally told my assistant, because I only gave them 30 minutes notice. I've been so busy with my daughter. So thank you, Rachel, for coming. So I was, just call one of our amazing coaches. And she called Khadija and Rachel, but she could have called anyone, because this program first attracts amazing people. And then they learn how to talk. Look how they're talking. They don't have a script. They don't have anything in front of them. They're talking because they're integrated. Rachel used the word integration. And she's talking from this place that feels like it's inspired. You know, people often tell me that I'm downloading information, or, well, Rachel to me feels like she's downloading information, but she isn't. She's accessing her own inner power. She's in alignment. And when you're in alignment, this is how you talk. So, people think that, for example, the Coaching Institute is just to become a coach. No, it's to fall into alignment, is to integrate, is to become a public speaker, is to become motivated and inspired and to radiate. I mean, it's really all these essential things, these essence-based things that it gives you. So Rachel, do you remember before you became a coach and used to listen to me talk about the Coaching Institute, like these people are, what kind of thoughts did you have? And were you on the fence, and how did you commit to it? Even though you were a business major, you were not in this field.
Yeah, I was on the fence. I was on the fence because I thought, can I do this if I have no background in psychology? I was genuinely worried about that. And in hindsight, I can say that it's the wrong question to ask. And I was worried about, can I do this without a background in psychology? Will it work for me? And I was worried about the price. I had kind of hesitations. And I can say that all of those are the wrong questions to ask yourself, because it's not a question of will it work for you? It's a question of will you work for it? It's a question of will you, once I committed to a path of consciousness, awakening, integration, wholeness, whooshed. It was like really a quantum leap. I can't explain it any other way. I know that sounds a little woo-woo, but it's the truth. And when I committed to this path, the path opened up for me. And it is a path of not just becoming aligned. I am very powerfully grounded and centered within myself. It's a path of remembering who you are. That is, I think, the number one. If I had to sum in one sentence, what is the biggest thing I got out of the Coaching Institute is I remembered who I am. Oh. And with regards to the price, again, it's the wrong question. Because the question is not, is the price of the Coaching Institute worth it? The question is the price that you are currently paying for not doing this, is that price worth it? The pain, the suffering, the split, the unconsciousness, is that price that you pay within yourself, with your children, with your spouse, in your work, is that price worth it? That's what you have to ask yourself.
I know, people, I think the two, you hit all the major challenges that people feel before they take a quantum leap like this. One is, am I worth it? Is it worth it for me? But then also, do I have the time? Is it too late? Do I have the money, right? The practical things bog people down. But like you're saying, and like you've learned, right? You've learned this through our work together, that those are the mainstream matrix questions that are designed. Like, we don't realize that we're asking these questions. Is it too late? Is it too expensive? Those are the ego questions that have kept us stuck, right? So, but because I know that, I also don't charge. It's well under $10,000, and it's only 5 months. So I try to squeeze it in so your time is not wasted. I try to make it easy and digestible and appealing. And I didn't make it, my PhD, guys, was $127,000, and it took me 8 years of hell. Okay. And Rachel, how do you feel? Do you feel equipped now, in like you got a degree, like you got something after this $8,000 investment?
Oh, I mean, it's so much more than a degree. I have degrees. I know what it is to get a degree. A degree is great. It's a piece of paper. But what I got was my life. I got my life back. What is that? How important is that? What is that worth? And now, on top of that, now I help others find that for themselves. I help others unlock their own lives too, get their own lives back, remember who they are, be powerfully grounded within themselves. What is that? What's the price on that? Right? There is no price on that. And I tell you another thing, I remember feeling a little bit scared when I got into the Coaching Institute, because I knew it was going to be a deep dive. I thought it was going to be a deep dive into conscious parenting. Boy, was I wrong. But I had a little bit of fear, like what am I going to find under the hood, right? When I really go deep, what kind of monsters are going to come out? And I think now when I look back at that, and even to this day, when I feel that fear before a quantum leap, before I'm about to jump off the ledge of something that I don't know, that fear tells me, something deep is going to happen. A profound change is about to take place, a change that is for a lifetime, not for a few months, or not for just during the time that I'm in the work and then I forget it and I go back to my old patterns. No, this was a complete rehaul of my inner landscape in a way that is irreversible and permanent and amazing. And I would do it 500 times again.
I'm so happy you brought that up. But first, I just want people to just again comment, just notice how Rachel is talking. Okay. And this is what I'm talking about, because what you're seeing in how Rachel and Khadija are talking, this power, this conviction, no one can teach this. This is transformation. This is something that is priceless. You understand? When somebody can talk with such clarity, alignment, these are things that this method gives people without me even having to do anything, because it is designed to transform. This cannot be counted. You can go get a law degree, you can go get a PhD from a fancy university, but like Khadija said, you'll get information, but you won't get transformation. Transformation includes information. It's an embodied information. And then I really like what you said, that it's not, people think this is to train parents or to coach parents. I say that this is for any human who's had a parent, which is every human. But how to tell people this until they, realize it for themselves? So it's a life transformational course. It's a course. It's really a 5-month method course. At the end of it, you get a certification. If you use it, great, but it will transform your life. So Rachel, another question I think people may have for you is, was there homework? How did you feel in terms of imposter syndrome? How did you feel in terms of, you have 3 children? How did you do it with 3 children?
I think I did it a little differently than some of our coaches. Personally, I decided I'm doing this like an immersion course. I am just going all in, and I bathed myself in the videos. Like there's a portion of the course that is kind of a self-study, and then there are live calls. So I listened to it nonstop. It's almost like I brainwashed myself in this, in all the audio. So no matter what I was doing, I was driving the kids, we were listening. I was at the gym, I was listening. This is back when we used to go to the gym. Whatever I was doing, I had my earphones in and I was listening. And I had your voice in my head 24/7. And I was just absorbing. This is how I went about it. I wasn't taking notes. I wasn't, creating binders. I wasn't doing any of it. I was just receiving. And I had to have trust in myself that I was going to hear what I needed to hear. I kept saying to myself, what I am going to get, what I need to get. And it's, and there is no real, it's an iterative process, right? I'm still on that path. I'm still doing the work. I'm still unlayering. I'm still uncovering patterns that I thought I already dealt with, and then they come up again. And so I'm constantly doing this work, but now I know how. Because you gave me the method, you gave me the tools. How do I get to the root cause of what is really going on in my life? How do I get from the behavior I see in myself, from the feelings I have, or what I see in others in my family? How do I get from there to what's really causing everything?
Beautiful.
And that is the work.
Right. And it's universal, and it can be applied to every problem area of your life and every relationship. Rachel does it with businesses. She helps people who are in corporate industries develop their purpose and their passion. And because it's ubiquitous, it's a universal method meant for universal situations. So you can become your own master. Go ahead.
You know what I say to when people ask me if it works for that, if it will work for them, I say, if gravity applies to you, consciousness applies to you.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's a law of the universe. So if anywhere on this planet, every human experiences gravity, and the same applies with consciousness and awakening. As long as you are human, if you have a beating heart and you are flesh and blood, this works.
Right. So one last thing is, people get really stuck on the price. And I don't know whether this applies to you, Rachel, because your kids are young, but I'm putting my kid into college, and the fees here are, astronomical, right? And it's just like an 18-year-old kid who's probably not even going to learn much, but she'll just get a degree, right? Okay, we get some information. And I just want people to know that the comparison of what this is to what real life universities ask for is night and day. And what you get here is what every school should be teaching every one of us and should have taught us and never did. So it is so priceless. And I probably won't raise the price for many more iterations of this, because I want it to be, it can't be for free, but it has to be affordable. And because I want more people to come into the net of consciousness. But how do you talk to people when even they come to you for a private session, or, people put self-growth at the bottom of their priority list. But if it's violin classes for their children, or if it's Botox or losing 10, 15 pounds, they'll spend the money. It's where you spend your money. There is no such thing as it's too expensive. It may take time for you to save, but there's no such thing if you understand the value of something.
Right. And I think that's and I do bring up this point with my clients too, because when I charge my prices for private coaching, and sometimes people say I can't afford it. And I understand that. We all live in this world, but at the same time, we have to recognize that when something is important to us, we make it happen. And this idea of I don't have enough time or I don't have enough money, I challenge people on that thought. Where is your attention? Where do you focus your attention? Where do you focus your time? And what do you spend your money on? And sure, maybe you have to recalibrate a few things, or, move some things around in your budget to make this work. And I get that. But again, we have to look at the price, that we are already paying in our relationships with ourselves, with our children, with our spouses, and everyone in our lives. We have to look at the price compared to what, right? It's expensive compared to what? Compared to a master's degree or a PhD in psychology, it's peanuts. It's not even a semester, right? So when you say it's expensive, okay, compared to what?
Right. So then the last question, it's a business question for Rachel. What is the return on investment? Like, people want to know, what is your return on investment? And I keep saying to you guys, look at her, look at Khadija, look how they talk. That is the return on investment. But people want to know, how do you make money through this?
So I think there's return on investment in form and in formless, right? Because when you talk about our energy and our vibration, that's in the formless. And the return on investment there is, I don't know, 1,000,000%. But even if let's say we just go on the form level, what is the return on investment? That depends on you, what you do with it, right? I decided I am going to build a business. So I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own coaching business. I have made back my investment many times over. But that's on me.
And you see your children returning on your investment, and you see your relationship. This is not dollar for dollar, guys. This is, I promise you, it's exponential. And you will change the world through this. So Rachel, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to move you back and take a few questions, and then I'm going to wrap up. So the link is here. It's in Spanish and English. You can download the application. It's $55, and then you can talk to one of our team members and ask questions. It is a priceless program. It will take those 5 mistakes that you make and eliminate those mistakes in your life. If nothing else, you will not make those mistakes again, and it will transform your existence. It'll put everything into, it's a thorough, it's my most thorough course, right? It's 5 months. It's the longest, deepest dive course. Even though I have courses for a year, this is way more, right? And I wanted to show you the layout of the Institute and take you down, but I do that once you apply. So if you just apply and fill up your application form, I will take you through the Institute before you finally purpose. This is, let me wait for the internet to come back. Just waiting. Can you hear me? Hear me now? Yeah, it's just, can you hear me now? It's rebuffering because Rachel left. So thank you, Rachel and Khadija. I want you all to understand that I created this institute to be the next generation of thought leaders, the founding place for the next generation of consciousness teachers. I wanted it to be institutionalized, so if I die right now, it'll continue. And so that people seeking higher consciousness will have a place to go. So that I know I've left something behind for people who want to go deeper and truly honor their highest calling will have a place to go. So I'm here as a resource. You can write to office@drshefali.com with more questions from this webinar. There are 3 more days before the application closes. You can ask thousands of questions, write to office@drshefali.com. But applications are shutting down for cohort number 6 in 3 days. So we are taking this next cohort to liberation. So are you going to join the ship or not? That's the only question. And if this is not your time, then maybe the next time. But Susan here said she worked full time, she raised a family, and she did the institute. You can find the time if you want to. I open the cohort twice a year, September's and in February, and you can move forward. There is a prerequisite of the Awakened Heart course. You only have to do half the course before you join. It's 50% off. And these teachings, deeper, more intense. You see how I show up. You see how I deliver. I give you my all. The Institute is my trophy course. I give it everything I have. You will not regret it. Nobody has gone through it and regretted it. Not one person. Because it's from the heart, it's full of purpose, it's full of service, it's full of passion and huge transformation. So before I leave, what is your aha right now that you're taking with you? So the difference between this course and the other courses is that in this course, I take you down the method. Hope, I am worth it, from the heart. Life is priceless. I must love me. Live free, ego free. Courage to change. Stick to your purpose. Trust the process. Service and growth. This is for me. Invest in myself. The future is now. Beautiful. Not to get triggered. Service and growth. Love for the sake of loving. Me first. Divine timing. Oh, thank you so much. Your self-empowerment is freedom, letting go of the ego, gratitude, find purpose, make it a service. Yes. Believe, observe your own ego, growth and service. Thank you all for joining me, guys. Thank you. I know I've taken 2 hours of your time, but I wanted to expose you to this method deeper and what you can learn from the Institute. And when it's your time, you will join us and be an ambassador of consciousness. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining me. Bye, guys.